Welcome back to Rookies Live. Today we're continuing our series on best visual effects schools in the world to learn online. My name's Andrew McDonald. I'm one of the co-founders of the Rookies, and I'm joined here with Owen Hunt, the other co-founder.
Hey, Macca, how you going? We're really excited today to have Scott Thompson, who is co-founder of Think Tank Training Centre. And you know, we're like I said, we're excited to hear about the school, what they offer. And Scott, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? We know a lot about you, but we'd love to hear more from you.
Well, listen, I'm born and raised in Vancouver, and that's where the school is situated. Beautiful British Columbia, if you like the outdoors and wide open spaces. We're on the ocean with the mountains at our back, which is really great. I'm a 90-minute drive from Whistler, so everybody skis or snowboards and that kind of thing. I've got a boat. I'm on my boat a lot. I've had these cats on my boat, so they know what that's about. It's a lot of fun, and that's a pretty normal thing in Vancouver as well. So I've been dabbling in lots of businesses over the years, but really my sort of main dream business was the one that we're running now. Think Tank is kind of something we've been nursing along for about 15 years. We started in 2005. And back then, you know, training was not the best. You know, there was a few decent schools around, but not too much. You know, and online was kind of a new thing. You know, it was just sort of getting its feet. So, you know, it's taken a while to sort of figure out how to get this stuff going in a good direction. And what are we really doing? Well, we're training people for these cherry jobs. You know, working on the biggest, baddest projects in the world, whether it's film or television or video game production. It's all about placement. It's all about getting those jobs. And let's face it, lots of people want to work in the movies, so they're not always easy to get. So what's the best advice you can give people? Be great. Because if you're great, the world will come to you. And we can talk about that. I'll tell you some stories when we get going here.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I mean, yeah, we've known about you guys for a long time, and we're clearly big fans, and we see a lot of your student work come through the Rookie Awards. So I kind of just wanted to jump in before we went too deep. I've got a little bit of a teaser trailer here that I just wanted to show to just give a bit of an example of what happens at Think Tank. Yeah, just to get into it a little bit, Scott, you know, like you talked a little bit about the school, and, you know, I'm just curious as to, you know, was there any particular reason why you went, you know what, we need to do this online, or, you know, and just tell us a little bit more about the school makeup. You know, you've obviously got the bricks and mortar school you're doing online. Can you tell us about the school in general, overall?
Sure. Basically, when we got into this business, we sat down with ourselves and we tried to figure out what the other schools were doing well and what they weren't doing well. And we tried to build an idea that was kind of first principles, small classes, the best instructors. We have a very, very high instructor to student ratio. I think we have 42 instructors for 52 students right now. So it's, you know, approaching one-to-one. And so it's really kind of hand training, because you really need to get into the heads of these people that are making these films, because this stuff's, it's hard. You know, let's face it. Both you cats have got experience in the industry, so you know that this stuff takes a long time. It's very difficult, and it's not for everybody. You know, you want to find the best people. So when we started the school in 2005, and as we got going and we started getting a bit of a reputation, the school was quickly sold out, and we've been sold out since 2006. So after 15 years, or well, it was more like 12 or 13 years of being sold out, we just decided we just couldn't expand anymore. We didn't want to. We'd kind of mess with our model if we did that. So we thought, well, online's the next natural thing. So let's take this thing online. So we spent a couple of years figuring it out, and we launched it, and it's gone very well. So it's going great. We're doing well, and we're trying to get the same results that we got from campus online. And so far, we're doing it. And if you see the student work on the rookies, it's so hard to tell who's online and who's not, because the work is very high quality. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's really been interesting, man. It's a good point, because when we obviously go to review the student work, you know, we're seeing incredible stuff come from online. And it is only until we sort of jump back in, look at the reports and see, you know, hey, look at this. These guys are actually from the online course. And I've just been kicking around your website a bit in terms of just trying to get an idea of what is the difference between obviously the campus and online. Apart from the obvious things, like it seems you've got a specialized course for online. Do you want to kind of walk us through what that is like, and, you know, what you guys cover with that course?
Sure. So rather than try and check every box right out of the gate, we decided we would choose 5 career paths that we felt were sort of the heart of the industry, both in games and film and television. And so we specialize largely in modeling for film, in characters and environments, props, texturing, high-level texturing for props for film. Games, a lot of Unreal stuff for characters in film, characters and environments. Look dev and lighting, and sort of high-level rendering, and getting sort of under the hood. And I like to think we're one of the top texture schools in the world, whether we're using Substance or Mari, and partnering with Maya, and some of the other sculpting packages as well, which are really integral when it comes to texturing, ZBrush and even Mudbox a little bit. So, you know, we're trying to create a recipe, basically. It's basically a recipe. You're baking a cake, and you're trying to create a recipe that will make a great cake. So we sat down and we figured out a path. We start everybody off at 0 in our foundation. Everybody gets a broad understanding of kind of everything. It's a bit of a thing. You know, it's tough. I wouldn't say to people these programs are easy. They're not. You know, we tell people, brace yourself. Oh, can I keep my full-time job? No, I wouldn't. You know, I really wouldn't. If you want to take this thing seriously, I need 50 to 60 hours a week out of you, and the best students do that. So then when you get into the next level, the next semester, there are 4 months, you start to define your career path. You pick a path and you get put into smaller groups. The classrooms are 5 to 8 students. As you get more into the intermediate and advanced semesters, the classes get even smaller, sometimes 2 to 4 in each group. And you have a dedicated supervisor that works with you every week. So you always have that one person, industry pros. These are all very high-level generalists that kind of have a really good understanding of the curriculum. And by day, they're working on the next big blockbuster film. They could be anywhere in the world because we can recruit from anywhere. And then when you get into your final semester, we pair you up one-on-one with a mentor from the career path that you're looking for. If you want to be a texture artist for film and your favorite show was Game of Thrones, well, we could probably find a guy that worked on Game of Thrones as a high-level texture artist to be your coach. And, you know, you want to texture a dragon? Well, here's the guy that textured the dragon. You know, and
that was me.
So,
it's you know, like we've looked through the mentors, and actually both myself and Andrew have worked with a number of your mentors, and you know, if there's one thing I can say, you know, is that the level of mentorship and industry professionals that are involved with the school, and I think it's a really good point, and I think that's what really makes you guys stand out from the pack, is that they are the best of the best, you know, like when it comes to texturing and modeling, and like you said, these guys are in it, they breathe it, they live it, they're teaching it, and to have that sort of contact as a student, not only with their skill set, but also their networking outside of that, it's invaluable, and it's the stuff that, you know, money just can't pay for, you know, like that's just absolute gold. And just on the mentors, Scott, like what is that criteria for selecting somebody? You know, if it was like Andrew or myself, like would we need to have X amount of experience, or like, do we have to pass a test, or do we have to go out on the boat with you and make sure we get drunk? Like, what is that?
Well, Alan, drinking and boating, I don't condone that sort of thing, you know. Although it was Seagraph, so we did have Sebastian from Substance on board, and yourself, and a couple other high-level artists. So, you know, we did enjoy ourselves. Yeah, it's a good question. I think we're very fortunate because, like you and Andrew, we're all very well connected. You know, having worked in the industry for 10 years myself, and I've been teaching since the 90s. So I always had a very good group of people that I was working with, and they've all gone on. I mean, I've got students that I taught in the 90s. Now they've been in the industry for 20 years. These are all supervisors now. These are all directors. They're all leads. Everybody's at the top of their game. It's very easy for us to find very high-level people. You want the best because they are available, you know. And the good news is that they really enjoy it. They love giving back. They don't want to be professional teachers, but at the same time, they love sharing what they've learned, and in a good way. And some of them had very modest training. Some of them were self-taught, or they went to they're coming from a country like Brazil, or they're coming from Italy or Singapore, where there's not a lot of training when they were coming through the ranks. You guys remember, back in the early days, you had to figure it out. You just kind of, there's the software. Oh, we had manual. We were reading the manuals.
Yeah, I'd go to the library and get a manual. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, when I started in animation, there was no internet. We literally, when you bought a license of Soft Image, you got given the box of books, and that sat at your desk. Well, how do you do that? Well, you break the book open, and you read it. And that's what we did. The internet came along and changed everything. Mm-hmm. So we're very fortunate. We're very well connected. Vancouver is a huge hub, for this stuff. A lot of the Game of Thrones stuff was done here. A lot of the Avenger films are done here. Deadpool, Star Wars, on and on. Jurassic World, it's all here, or at least big chunks of it. So we can find the best people in this city, but we can also reach out across the globe, because I've got people in Europe now. I've got students all over the world now. We've trained upwards of about 1,000 students just with Think Tank, but I also did about another 1,000 before I even started Think Tank. So those people have sort of, they've grown and they've prospered, and they've become very, very accomplished artists. And even the young ones coming up out of Think Tank, we've got, the Paul Polinos of the world. These guys, he's on your advisory board or your judging board. And Ray Lee was one of our rookies winners. He won New Game Artist of the Year. And now he's on your panel. So these guys, I remember when I met Ray, he was so shy when he came in. He had to have his brother come and talk for him. And even though Ray did understand English, he's Vietnamese, and he was very sweet, but he was very shy. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to teach this guy? He doesn't talk. But quietly Ray was just crushing it. He was just, everything he touched turned to gold. And I was like, oh my God, this guy is quiet, but he is talented. And then he went on, everything he touched was just fantastic. So we can reach out to even fellows like Ray, and they're very thankful of being at Think Tank. They know that we really cared about them. I think Ray is one of those guys that really appreciates his experience with us. And we really loved that he was such a kind, gentle soul and went on to great things and still is, So, we're looking for good personalities too. Not everybody's cut out to be a teacher. Some people they're a little rough around the edges, or they're a little too abrupt. You guys all know about the compliment sandwich. You want to tell somebody it kind of sucks. Well, sometimes you have to tell them it's coming along quite well, but there's a few things we might want to change up, And everybody's got to get a little bad news once in a while. And working in the industry, we have to brace them for that. You might get a supervisor or a director that doesn't mince his words, and he's very direct. I'm sorry, this just isn't good enough. Go back and fix it, or I'll find somebody else, sort of thing. There's very few people like that in the industry, but there's every once in a while you run into one, and you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready to be professional and take it not personally, just doing a job here, just trying to get this show done. And it's his name that's going to be up there when it says directed by. Mm-hmm. So you got to make sure that you're covering his butt too. And we teach all that stuff. We try and get everybody in the good mindset. So a good mentor will also transmit sort of a professionalism about how you work with people, how you work with criticism, how you take good notes, all these things. Because when you get thrown into the fire, it can be fast and furious, as you guys know. Deadlines come fast. And when they're trying to get that show done on time and you're pulling 16 to 18-hour days, you get kind of brain tired and, we'll pay you more money. I don't know if I want more money. I just want
I just want sleep.
Yeah, just want my life. So anyway, but yeah, there's a lot of talent available. We do look through them very carefully, and we try and find the best people for the job. In general, there's more than enough great mentors available to teach most things in this industry. And I had a guy reach out to me today from Braun Studios, and he's looking for a rigger. And I know that I can find a couple of great guys just by going into my network list and just find a couple of great opportunities for him. So, and we do a lot of that sort of thing too. So,
no, that's fantastic. So, I mean, you've touched on sort of how much time and effort you're expecting students to sort of contribute. What does a typical week look like for a student? Obviously we're trying to focus on this webinar, more focus on the online side of things. So what does that week look like? How much time are they spending? What interaction, what software might they be using for that interaction? And yeah, maybe help us paint a picture for that.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. So we developed our own platform. We looked at some of that were available, and we wrote to them and we asked if we could customize it to suit us, make it look, and we wanted to add new features that they didn't have. And by and large, they said that they couldn't do it. So we sat down and decided we just write our own. So we've spent almost 3 years now developing our platform. It's turned into a real beast. The thing is, it's great. We love it. It's not just running our online school now, it's running our campus as well. So it's turned into a really sort of an integral piece of software for us. It's very slick. It's beautiful. It's got a million moving parts. It's got chats and forums and feedback and live sessions and calendars and note-taking abilities and all kinds of playback opportunities. So it does everything for us. And the back end is amazing because I can go into the back end and I can see if you watch the videos. Oh, this is a while back. Somebody called me up. Oh, my son's not doing very well. Why? Well, we can tell by the back end that he hasn't watched most of the videos. He doesn't participate in the forums, and he's only handed in 50% of his assignments. So if he's pointing the finger at us, maybe you should point the finger back at your son.
That's gone.
And we can show the parent the metrics on that, but it's super powerful. That back end is very powerful. By and large, we don't get a lot of that. We get a lot of everybody's all over this. We can see how many hours they put in every week very clearly and easily. So a typical week is Monday at midnight or Monday morning. The videos are released for the week. Students have 3 days to watch and absorb the material and get into their assignment. They do a live session midweek with their supervisor. At the beginning of the week, the supervisor broadcasts a short message to everybody, like a little pep talk. This is what this week's going to be about. This is what we're going to be learning. It's going to be a tough one, or it's not. We try and balance our weeks so they're not all ugly. We try and not put too heavy assignments in a row. We'll try and space them out a little bit. Sometimes we'll give them more time, maybe 2 weeks for an assignment. Generally, they're a week. And then when you get into the latter stages, the higher echelons of advanced, you might get 4 to 6 weeks for a project. So then as you go through the week, you do your live sessions with your supervisors, and anytime during the week, you can send a ticket asking a question, and you'll get answers right away for those, or participate in the forums. There's chat apps on your phone. You can send messages to us or to your supervisors or teammates, classmates. By the end of the week, assignments are due on Saturday. Sunday, you get your feedback from your supervisor. They evaluate all your stuff, and your feedback will just arrive in your inbox on Portal. It'll just turn green, and you just click it, and it starts to play. And they walk you through your assignment, tell you what you did right and what you did wrong. And Monday morning, it reboots and starts again. And we redo that for 15 weeks. So it goes it's a little fast. But it seems to work out. I mean, they work hard. They are heavy weeks sometimes. Some students can get away with 30 hours a week, but I think I'd love to see 50, and some do much more. My best student, I think, she probably puts in 80 hours a week.
Wow.
And she's like a robot. I mean, I don't know how she does it. And so, but you wish for those people, but there's not that many around. Even at the campus, though, we do promote, like at the school, we don't let people stay past midnight at the school because we don't want people to be brain dead when they come in the morning. And I got the guy that just modeled the spaceships from Star Wars teaching, and you're fast asleep. So I say midnight, goodbye, go home, 8:30 we open, get some sleep, come back, and get started again. Online, we try and promote that idea as well. It's a little more difficult because we're not in the bedroom there to turn off the monitor for them. But we also at the campus, we don't open the school on Sunday. Go snowboarding, go sailing, go to the beach, have a day off, rest your brain. I don't think a lot of them do that. They probably stay home on their laptops and keep working. But, we like to have a life too. It's a bit of a life balance, because guys know what it's like in the industry. You kind of get sucked into it. Mm-hmm. And it becomes like all encompassing. I just got to finish this last shot, God, just got to get this last shot out. It's Christmas Eve. Your brain gets kind of full. So, but we try and have a decent life as well,
Actually, I always love that story that you tell us, and maybe it's a good one for the viewers, Scott, is, not everybody is suited for the course, and how you've got that refund and all the rest of it. Just tell us about that.
Well, as you just said, Owen, this isn't for everybody, and we do screen carefully. Online, we do look at portfolios, but at the same time, because we are bigger online as far as a presence, we can accommodate more people. So we try and make sure that people know what they're getting themselves into. I don't try and scare them, but I try and be very realistic with them. The first thing I'll say to somebody that sits down in my office is this industry's tough, and not everybody gets in. So you've got to be great. And if you can't be great, your chances of getting a job are, probably, 1 in 2. But if you are great, it's 1 in 1. You're going to get that job, So we have a policy at the school that if you struggle, we'll give you a couple of pep talks and kind of try and get you over the lumps. But if it just doesn't really work, we sometimes have to, break the bad news and say, look, this just isn't your thing, You should go be a pilot. You should go be a doctor, go be a bus driver, be something else, a cook. But this is not going to be your career. And I just literally, I run it by my partner. There's no committee. We write it. I talk to the accounting, make up this check, please. And I just slide the check across the table and say, here's your money back. Go do something else. And don't take this money and go to one of my competitors, because if we can't help you, nobody can. So let's go do something else. And, they always cry. I mean, I've got a box of tissues. I usually get that on the counter before they even walk in. It's always the waterworks, But you know what? Almost to a person, they've come back to me later and thanked me and said, thank you for being honest with me, because there are schools that would have taken my money and you guys wouldn't do it. And you were right. This wasn't my thing. And I found my thing now. And I'm so much happier because they were struggling. They were really struggling. So we try and identify that as early as we can. And Joe and I, we're pretty conscious guys. I mean, we like to sleep nights and know that we're doing the right thing. It's a business, but it's also a family. Everybody's on a first name basis. We really love our students. They do the nicest things to each other and to us. I got boxes of cards and nice gifts from kids that just send me. And the line that they love to use, and I love this line, I get it from people all the time, and that is, thank you for changing my life. And I always say the same thing. I said, well, you did pay me,
You paid me to change your life.
Yeah.
But I think, that's what we love, we've visited the school, we've felt the energy from it. We've felt, like it is like one big family, happy family, and, knowing Paulino, who's come through the rookies as well. And just, the guys that go through there, they just can't talk highly enough of it. I just wanted to touch on a point before, because when you were talking about Mari and Substance and sort of softwares that you are teaching there, are students expected to have their own software, and what other types of software packages are being taught there, Scott?
Yeah, so we're pretty software heavy. So we the thing about Think Tank is, because it's just Joe and I making the decisions for the school in general at the beginning, we have another fellow named Adar on board now, who's doing a great job for us as well, running the online program. But we've been teaching ZBrush and Mudbox since '05, like since we opened. So we kind of got ahead of the curve. But we were on Mari, many years before a lot of our competitors got on board, because Mari was a tough one. Paul's teacher, Justin Holt, got us involved with Mari. And when we looked at the specs, we had to upgrade virtually every machine in the building just to run Mari, because it's such a memory hog, needs a big cache, needs a nice video card. So we just wrote the check and did it. And as a result, we ended up with guys like Paul Polino and Christian Peck. These are people that just aspired to a very high level right away. So, Mari, ZBrush, we were the world beta school for Mudbox out of Weta. We were the world beta for Marvelous Designer out of Japan. We've been teaching Substance from the get-go, both Painter and Designer. Obviously, Maya is our big platform for the main animation platform, and also for kind of tying everything back together. We like V-Ray, but we also support Arnold. And we're not afraid of looking at other render engines either. We've had a render farm from the get-go, so we've always had one. And that's not about necessarily just rendering student work. That's also about teaching them how to use a farm, because studios have one, or they have a cloud rendering option. So we've been teaching Unreal for a long, long time. We started with Unreal 4, Unreal 3. We went to I think it was CryEngine and Unity, and then back to Unreal 4. Obviously all the Adobe products, that's kind of a given. And then lots of little peripheral programs. We use little bits and pieces here and there that just kind of fill gaps. Lots of supporting small apps and packages that just kind of grease the wheels to keep everything moving forward. So it's a lot of software, and these packages are big. Obviously, we teach Nuke. We're teaching some Houdini now. We're getting into Katana. And each one of these packages is a tough ride to get your head around. So a couple, it gets easier, but getting off the ground initially can be a bit of a challenge. But they're also very cool. So I don't know about you guys, but when I first started getting into 3D, man, I was so addicted. I did not sleep. I was just so, man, look what I made, and it was terrible, But I thought just the best,
But it's true, and that comes back to what you were saying. If people don't have that passion, they're not willing to put in those hours, what are you doing? Because everyone else is working these crazy hours. They go to sleep, throw something on your own little crappy computer to render overnight, wake up, and if you're not buzzed about what's going to be on that screen in the morning, come on, you just thing.
That's so true, Andrew. You exactly nailed it. And that's exactly what it's like. It's like you're getting a little gift every time you open up your renders,
Except for that morning when you wake up and it hasn't worked, and then you're devastated. Lost 10 hours render time. So,
yeah. Or you just forgot to connect one texture and you rendered 600 frames of something horrible, Oops. Oh, well.
So, even on that, just with, obviously, you have a bit of control, you have full control over the hardware that you have on your campus. What do you have a sort of a minimum requirement that you make sure that students doing online have?
Yeah, and I actually didn't answer your one question. When you sign up for the online program, we supply all the software. It's all included. We do give you specs for the machines that we want you to run. There's sort of a sweet spot for the amount of RAM we'd like you to have, the CPU power, the GPU power. Do you have a tablet? You really kind of have to have a tablet. At the campus, we give everyone a $500 tablet, and they walk in the door and say, "This is a gift. It's yours. Keep it. You're going to need it." And in this industry, you really are going to need it. The only exception possibly is if you're an animator, in which case you might not need a tablet. Some animators still use them. But if you're going to be any kind of a texture artist or a sculptor or a modeler, you really need a tablet. So we endorse that. With this school, we supply everything except for if you're obviously in another country, we can't supply hardware. So we just recommend that we try and make sure people get good deals. We give them recommendations of where they can find good deals if they want to buy something. They're always asking us those questions. I got one fellow, that's all he does. And the other thing about our program is when you're done, if you still want software, we'll get it for you. We have a new piece of software that we wrote that's part of Portal called our software selector, and you can just go down the list and just check the boxes, and it's just like being on Amazon. It just fills up your cart. and the cost is shared amongst many people, so the cost is quite low. So if you need 4 months more Mari or 4 months more ZBrush, obviously Maya is free with Autodesk if you're in an educational institution, but you can get these things from us, and it's very inexpensive because we can share the costs, and we bundled it, and we can do our own bundles. So we package things separately and make it really easy for you to do it. It works out well. The other thing the online school offers is you can do 3/4 of the program online and then come to Vancouver and do the mentorship in person, which is something I love. Yeah, we get about 30% of the students do it, and we love it because we don't. I got to tell you guys, it's the coolest thing, and you guys must have this happen to you. I'll interface with somebody online for a year and not meet them, and then one day they just walk in your door. It's the coolest thing, and you feel like you know them. You've done Zoom calls with them, or you're emailing with them. You're looking at their work. You know them quite well, and then all of a sudden they're standing in front of you, and they're from New Zealand, or they're from Adelaide in Australia. It's just the coolest thing. I just love that part of it. So we're very blessed that way. We have a really interesting melting pot of people, and they're all very kind, hardworking people. That's the other thing. There's no. I don't know what the right word is, what I can say here online, but there's no assholes in our school because we don't allow them. Sorry, if you're not nice, we're not going to let you in. If you got a chip on your shoulder, if you can't lose the chip, you can't come. I'm sorry. We don't lock anything up. We don't. You don't have to.
Just on letting people in, Scott, so what's the portfolio requirement to get in? Is there, do students have to have, a decent amount of knowledge, or do they have to have portfolio, just sort of a half demo reel, or what's that look like?
Well, in a nutshell, the best people for this industry are artists, people that can draw and sculpt and paint. If you've got an artistic leaning, or if, let's say, coding is artistic, that creative brain that it takes to write elegant code is the same brain that it takes to do this painting that's behind me. Those things are what we look for. We can teach the tech to the artist, but we have a hard time teaching the artist to the tech. So we look for people with an artistic leaning that are passionate, that really love the industry. They're not afraid of hard work. And, I remember when Star Wars came out. A lot of people say Star Wars changed my life. I was 17 when Star Wars came out. I was at the premiere midnight show, and nobody knew anything about this show. And I got to tell you, when that first Star Destroyer went over the top of the camera, and it was like 90% boys, it started to cheer. I'm not kidding. Absolutely true. Cheering. Yeah. When the show was over, we were all just sitting there with our mouths open, and we wouldn't go home, and we asked them to play it again. It's now 2:00 in the morning, and we wanted to pay again and let them play it again, and they said, no, go home. They had to call the police to get us out.
Wow.
And then the next morning, I came back and saw it twice more, and by dinner time the next day, the lineup was around the block, and the word had gotten out. But that was life-changing. You got to have that passion. Yeah. I have my X-Wing fighter I built when I was 17, sitting in the school in 1977. I built it on a student's desk. Yeah, and it's an icon, and that is the time that the world changed for visual effects. That film changed the world.
Without a doubt.
So,
without a doubt.
Yeah. And now we have the pleasure of being able to work on these films. Like, how cool is that? Right?
Actually, one thing I wanted to ask you about, and we've spoken about it before in previous conversations, Scott, is, when we think about when we got into the industry, we had to learn through manuals, and there was, actually even getting into the industry was a lot harder because the opportunities weren't there. It was just a lot more harder. What do you see is the harder, or when you see students coming through now, are they mentally, physically, prepared for it? What's the biggest hurdle that you see them facing right now? Because there's opportunities there, right? Yeah. I think we've spoken about mentally some, students aren't, are willing to put in the hard work, and the just even their soft skills, being able to talk, like you said, like with Ray, some people just don't even know how to communicate. I'm just I guess what I'm trying to say is that we've noticed that, industry have been sort of, worried about, soft skills and these other sort of skills outside of the technical.
Well, it's another great question, Owen, because those soft skills can be a make or break for people. So we're not their parents, but at the same time, we do often give advice. And one thing I say to students, whether they're online or whether they're on campus, I say to them, you know what, you guys, it's just a decision you have to make. If you make your mind up, you're going to be great, and you want to do the work, then you'll probably be great. But you have to make the decision to do the work and commit yourself to it. People say, oh, Elon Musk is a genius. Elon Musk works his ass off. This guy has taken tremendous chances throughout his whole life. He's always risking it all, and he's always working 100-hour weeks. This guy has earned everything he gets, and if you work like that, the world will come to your door. So we say to them, you just have to make your mind up that you're going to do it, and you're going to do it to a very high level. If you're going to choose a school, do your homework. Ask the hard questions. Don't look at, the pamphlets that they're handing out. Look at the student work. If the students are great, and they're mostly great, not just 10%, but 90% of them turn out great, then chances are that that's no chance. That's not luck. That's something else. And it's also in the hands of the students. It's not just the schools. Every school is going to produce some good students. But I think that the great schools, and there are not just us, there are several, I would say around the world, there's some really great competitors. And the other good news is we're mostly on great terms with these other schools. We talk. We had a really good conversation with CGMA the other day. We love those guys. And we've got nothing but respect for them and several other schools that we look up to and across that. So, but we just say to people, look, do your homework. It can be a lot of work and sometimes a lot of money. So make sure you make an informed choice. Go to the rookies. I push your guys' website all the time. Well, okay, it's a little selfish because we always seem to, we're very thankful. You guys always do a good job of making us look good. And now I know that my students do the work, but you guys showcased your site is so elegant and works so well that I had a student today that applied, and I asked her how she heard about us, and she said the rookies. I was on the rookies, and I looked up the list of best schools, and your school's on the list, and that's how I found you. So that's doing her homework. That's doing the due diligence. So I would say to people, do the work. And if you're not ready to work hard, then you should do something else, because whether you're working hard in a school or you're going to be working hard in the industry, you kind of have to get used to working hard. But the other good news is it's hard, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I regularly hear from students, this was the best year of my life. I had so much fun. I worked my ass off, but I had such a great time. And my portfolios are great. My parents are super proud of me. My friends are cool. They're nerds just like me. I get parents will come in and say, oh, my son spends every day in the basement. I go, good, I want him. He's the guy I want. So that's what we're looking for, that put your head down work ethic that we need. You guys are entrepreneurs. Yeah, I mean, how many weeks do you put in those crazy hours to get these things going? The rookies didn't make itself.
Nah.
It's the same thing, right? You have to work hard, and the world will come to your door if you're prepared to do the work. So that's kind of what I say to people. That's what I'm looking for. Get ready for it. It is still really fun. I think these kids are young and smart, and they learn well. They've got great senses of humor. They're getting these great jobs, and we hear back from them, and then I see them in the credits, which is so great.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel good.
Yeah, that's really cool. And some, really solid advice there, obviously. So, I mean, we touched on it before. I mean, you've had thousands of, students go through, as you said, get in the credits, come back and visit. Who do you have that you're teaching now that's impressing you? And do you have any sort of, interesting stories that of students like either this year, just last year, starting to do some really cool things?
Yeah, that's another good one, Andrew. Well, we've got them both online and on campus. The thing about the campus is, and I guess it equates to online as well, I get studios calling me all the time. Every week I had DD contact me yesterday. I had Braun contact me today. I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. And often I have to sadly say, I'm sorry, they're all gone. They're all, well, when can I have first look? You know what? There is no such thing. because I can't give ILM priority over a DD or WED or anybody else. I let the students decide where they want to go. I just tell them, look, I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you who's the best. I'll tell you who works the hardest. They're all great, so I'm not too concerned with that. I do have one girl right now that I think is probably the best student I've ever taught in my career. She's like a robot. She's also sickeningly nice and sweet and kind to other people. Her name is Andrea. She's out of Seattle. I won't give her last name because I don't want her to get overwhelmed with attention. She's probably getting it already. But she's just wrapping up her mentorship semester now. She's got 4 new characters coming out for games. When she posted her 3rd semester final, and it went kind of viral on ArtStation, she contacted me and said, I'm getting kind of overwhelmed with all the attention I'm getting from studios. What should I do? She even had Valve contact her. Valve doesn't hire anybody. You know,
They
don't go hunting for people. People hunt down Valve.
Yeah.
Valve was hunting her, and she says, well, I don't know if I really want to work at Valve. And I said, where do you want to work? She said, well, I'm thinking I'd like to work at Epic. And Epic couldn't find her because I think she took her email off for a while because she was getting so many emails. So they called me and said, what do I, we want to get a hold of this girl, which we don't have any contact information. I said, listen, I know Epic quite well. We've been in touch with them a lot. They've got Unreal and lots of other great things going on, very successful franchising games as well. I said, listen, I need to ask her permission to give out her contact. So I contacted her, and she's like, oh my God, of course, give them my email, So it took them about 2 minutes to get back to her and basically offer her a job. So
wow.
she starts June 1 at Epic. But she's just one of the, and she had, I think 3 other offers, including Framestore in 1st semester contacted her, and she emailed me and said, what do I do? What do I do? And I said, you just tell them to wait, because they're still going to be wanting you in another year, and you're going to be so much better then. And she was already phenomenal. But she just quietly just kills it. And I don't know where it comes from in her. It's like it's being held from God or something. But everything she does is remarkable. She's really a great person. She's got a tremendous work ethic. And, I contacted Epic after they hired her, and I congratulated them on hiring her. I said, you just got the #1 student in the world. She's
wow.
Yeah, because I've never seen anything like this before. Although I've had some tremendous talent, and people like Paul and Christian, to name 2, and Ray, of course. But there's been many. But this girl is just it's just all the planets aligned for her, and she just got it going on. So I would say she's the one person that sticks out in my mind right now. But we have students going all over the place. A little gal just went back to Singapore, her hometown, and got hired by ILM there. One of my guys just got picked up just today with Braun, picked him up. It's happening all around us, even with this crazy virus situation we're dealing with. Studios are still hiring despite the fact that people are staying at home. And so you get to work from home, which I think is killer. I mean, you guys both, isn't that our dream?
Yeah, for sure.
Home. We've all been trying to crack that nut from the beginning. Right? Yeah. So now it's finally happening. So these guys are getting hired, these guys and girls, and they're getting hired and then working from home. It's amazing. So you're going to probably see more from Andrea on the rookies soon. But she does start June 1, and I'm hoping that once they open the borders, she's going to come and drive up here and do a webinar for us. Because she's
amazing.
People, I think she'd be great, and a very kind person. She speaks super highly of you guys too, by the way. She's very thankful for the help that your site has given her, because she's gotten a lot of really good exposure, and she's just, you guys get so much great traffic. The studios are cruising your site now. The students that are looking for schools are cruising your sites now. So I think it's great for everybody, and my students, they'll all tell me the same thing. When I announced that the rookies are open for business, I bribed them, because it's really...
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I do. I bribe them because they're, they can be, I'm trying to get my project done. Just take 5 minutes and wrap up, put a little title on it and put a moving camera on it, kick it to the farm and post it to the rookies tomorrow. Oh, fine, whatever. I'll give you a new t-shirt. I'll give you a movie pass or something, and they do. So
that's classic. So actually, just thinking about the actual business itself, Scott, like if I was a student thinking about coming and doing a course either online or bricks and mortar, like what's roughly what sort of money are we talking about? Course fees, like just ballpark sort of figures. Is it are they the same costs? Are they different? Is there a payment plan? Talk us through what the
Well, both the online and the campus will allow you to pay as you go. So you can pay by the semester as you go. The campus program is Canadian dollars, of course, which if you're coming from Europe with the euro, if you're coming from America with the US dollar, it's a pretty good deal. You're getting a pretty big bump in exchange there. For an international student, campus is a little expensive. It's right around the $50,000 mark. But here's one of the things that we offer at campus that I think is a little unusual. Once you've completed our program with all this incredible student-to-instructor ratio, very small classes, just 12, one-on-one mentorship at the end, then you can stay. The program's over. You haven't finished your portfolio yet. We give you a new workstation. We give you more training. We give you access to everything. And you can stay forever. I mean, the world record is 3 years extra, and we pay for it. So it's free.
Wow.
So that tuition, you have to factor in that you can stay until you get hired. And we'll keep training you, keep pushing you, keep encouraging you, keep sending you to studios to get acquainted with recruiters. And then when that job offer comes, I'm there to help you go through the interview and get you going. For a Canadian, it's quite a bit cheaper because it's domestic. And that's just kind of how that works out. Obviously, with Canadians, they get placed a little quicker because they've got more infrastructure in place here and those things. Online's quite a bit cheaper. Also on campus, we offer mentorship, so you could get a little bit of modest training out in the world somewhere, maybe even work at a studio back in Venezuela or some other country, but you want to get your game up to another level. We'll take you and we'll dust you off and take you up that last 10%, teach you the real sweet stuff that'll get you that great job that you've been dreaming about. Online, it's about a third the price. So it's about 14,000 and change Canadian. I think it actually might have just gone over 15. And that's for the entire 16 months. So it's right around $1,000 a month for that curriculum. And that includes everything: software, all the classes, mentorship, you name it. And you can do it piecemeal if you want. If you wanted to just take foundation, it's I think it's about $3,500 for foundation. And foundation is a beast. That thing is, I can't imagine you getting a better training anywhere in 4 months than our foundation. It is. I mean, Andrea had a job offer from Framestore after 4 months, and that happens. These people will just work their butts off and they just knock out one killer project at the end, and it gets people's attention. It really does. And there's been lots of those foundation projects on the rookies. If people look them up, these are just people that have had only 4 months of training. So now, obviously, people get kind of hooked. So after 4 months, they generally continue, and we want them to, because we really want to push them to that real high level.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works. We do support our students post-graduation as well, not just online or at campus, but online as well. We stay in touch with people. I write cover letters for people and recommendations, do introductions. We work very hard. We really want people to get jobs. We really do. So we do a lot of networking for our students. We do free webinars. We do events. We visit about 15 to 20 studios a year here in Vancouver. We're very fortunate. We have a lot of studios here to visit. So we go out and we take the school with us, and we sit them down in front of the recruiters and the supervisors, and they ask all those hard questions. I really want to work here at DNAG or at Animal Logic. What do I need to do to get in here? And they'll just tell them. I mean, the recruiters are very forthcoming. I sometimes say to students, back in the day when Henry Ford was making Model Ts, his one adage was, find out what people want and then fill up their baskets. And that's what I say to students: find out what Animal Logic wants and then fill up their basket. You want to work at Animal Logic? Give them what they want. You want to go work at Rising Sun? Find out what Rising Sun is all about and give them a Rising Sun demo reel, and they will hire. That's the philosophy. There's no point in going down to a studio that specializes in games with a film reel. They just won't know what to do with you, So, we're trying to hand make people that fit this industry very well. And our students are very well informed. Like they really kind of get it. And it's not easy. I mean, it's an interesting year, I think, or 16 months now. So, but I think they really love it. They seem very happy when we talk to them, and they're very kind people, and they're very collaborative with each other, very supportive of one another, which I think is really key. Andrea is a great example. She's always on our forums helping people. You know, here's a girl that's got so much work to do. 4 characters for your demo reel. Come on, that is insanity. You know, when people tell us they want to be a character modeler, we go, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know the world of pain you're headed for? Because there's not that many jobs for that, you know. And if someone says,
she's done 4. Wow.
Yeah, and there's certain areas in our industry, and I won't name them because some of our competitors do a lot of good training in those areas, but some of those jobs are very difficult to get, and basically somebody has to die, you know. Find out where he lives, hunt him down, and push him in front of the SkyTrain. You know? We have a job opening, because that's kind of how hard some of these jobs are to get. You know, they're really niche jobs. You guys know what it's like. You go to a studio with 400 people, they got 3 of that.
Yeah.
You know, we only need 3.
And
we don't need
3 in line waiting for it, right? Already there. Yeah.
Well, right. And some of these companies have internships that are unpaid. And I don't even let my students do those. No. But sometimes it's very hard to get in. The sound industry is even worse. Man, you want to be a sound engineer, there's a lot of free stuff you got to give up before they're going to give you a shot. And I don't even like to go down that road because it's just so scary for employment. You know, there's a couple or 3 guys sitting in a room with their headphones on, and they're the whole department, and nobody's going anywhere. Yeah. So I just kind of say, look, guys, let's go to the sweet spots. You know, let's pick the jobs where there's lots. I say, watch the credits. You know, you love Avengers Endgame, watch the credits. How many lighters were there? How many animators were there? How many environment artists? How many texture artists? Oh, they had 85 texture artists. Okay, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Those are jobs, you know. Yeah. So they're pretty savvy by the time they come out of it. They kind of know, you know, if they just say, I just want a job, I say, okay, they got about 4 great areas you can go into if you just want a great job. And that's usually what they follow my advice, you know. And so that's kind of how it goes.
No, it's incredible advice, Scott, and it's bang on. Like everything you're saying is completely true. And, you know, I mean, we see it all the time as well. Like we do see some of your students come through with that one beautiful piece, and that is enough. You know, and they might have, you know, 20 other projects that got them to that point, but those ones are redundant now. You know, it's that one that just, you instantly see it and you go, yep, tick, 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 tick. It's done all the boxes and you're in. And, you know, obviously going through and doing 4 of those to the most extreme level, like that's crazy. But, you know, you can see how.
Yeah, I should warn that she might be insane, you guys, because she's doing 4 characters. So
insanely good. But yeah, no, it's as I said, great advice. Just before we sort of wrap up, I'm just curious, do you have any sort of other advice maybe in terms of what students should do in terms of a portfolio to get into art school? You know, obviously you got some great advice on how to get into the career and you guys guide them through that super well. What about those ones just starting out and trying to figure that?
Well, I think there's a lot of great training available just in the arts fields. You know, I would say, first of all, have a sketchbook, draw a lot, you know, and draw horribly if you have to. It doesn't matter. I mean, we have an instructor and she said, everybody's got 10,000 bad drawings in them. You need to get them out. So, you know, draw, sculpt. I had a girl apply. She did some stained glass windows she showed me. I let her in because I loved them. Another guy showed me some pictures of some furniture he'd made. It was gorgeous. Let him in, you know. So find out what your thing is, whatever that is artistically, and pursue it, whether it's painting or drawing, whether it's digital or whether it's with pen and paper or pencil. Take life drawing classes, you know, it's fun. Play around in a 3D package, try it out. You know, maybe it's Maya, maybe it's Blender, maybe it's something else, maybe it's SketchUp or something else. Just get your feet wet, see if you like it, and that's the other thing. Find out if you like it maybe first. You know, just dabble in it a little bit. You know? I mean, there's no point in joining the army if you have no idea what the army's about. You probably won't like it. So I would say find out if maybe this is the industry for you. Talk to some students. You know, what was your career path like? Talk to you guys. You guys have both been there. You know, find out, you know, what was your experience? Was it a good experience? Or was it a bad experience? I don't know. So do their homework, work on their art skills, take a free coding class. And there's lots of free Python classes out there, or C++ or something. It doesn't have to even be a relevant piece of code, coding software. It could be anything. Just kind of see if you like that, find your thing. We all say to ourselves, my brother's a good example. My brother's a fisherman. He does it for a living. He's a sports fisherman for a living. He's been doing it since he was 13, guiding people for money. And we've been doing, I did it for a bunch of years too. And we had like the Fortune 500s of America. We had the head of IBM and Boeing and you name it. We had presidents of companies. We had the head of the FBI, the CIA. These kind of guys. He takes these people out fishing every day. My brother is addicted to fishing. He would pay you to go out with him because he wants to go fishing so bad. But he gets paid to do it.
That's amazing.
He's got his dream job. So find a job that you love and that someone will pay you for. That is not even working. That is just, I used to go to work on Sundays at Mainframe because it was so much more fun than staying home. I just go down there and light a few shots and shoot the crap with some of the other guys. Very few people would come in on Sundays, but I loved it. I thought it was so fun. So I was like, I can't even believe they pay us. We're making cartoons. We're doing we're working on Transformers and Spider-Man. Oh my God, this is fantastic. I love it. So if you can find that job that you love, that is the holy grail. If you can really get to that, then that's perfect. So, and you guys are entrepreneurs like me, and I think, this is my sweet spot. This is where I love to be. I've got a great connection to the industry. I got students that are knocking it out of the park. I work with really nice people. I got a great team right now. We really enjoy each other, and I get to meet people from all over the world. And I'm doing Zoom or Skype session with you cats down there in Australia, which is another country I love, and I've traveled all over, which is super fun. And I wish I could do that again, but I don't know, something about growing up or something. So, that's all I can say to people. Try and find your dream job. Do something you love. Man, if you can find somebody that'll pay you to go surfing every day, do that.
I'm there.
So, that's right. Yeah. So if you can be fortunate enough to do that, and this industry is a little bit like that. There's lots of these dream jobs out there, and you get to work on some really great projects. These shows that people are. I was talking to one of my students today. I'm just wrapping up Dune. Like, dude, how cool!
Yeah,
very good.
You're wrapping up Dune. Oh, that is so great. I said, I wish I was working on Dune. So, this is where it gets fun. So I don't know. I love watching those movies, but making them's got to be even more fun, I think. So, yeah.
No, brilliant. Well, look, Scott, it's been awesome having you here. Honestly, it's been really cool that we can actually sort of introduce a lot of the rookies to you, because clearly, it's obvious why Think Tank is so good. It's because it's got people like you behind it. You can see the passion. You can it's just super obvious. And we're just really stoked that you could take a bit of time and come and chat to us. So really appreciate it, man. Really do.
No, and likewise, Andrew. I love you guys, and I love everything you do for my school and for the world in general, with all the good vibes you guys are always sending out. And I love your site. You guys have done. I remember back when you just getting started with the CG Student Awards and getting that off the ground. And it was so cool when that kind of hit the ground running and then became the rookies. So, right back at you. You guys have got a great thing going on down there, and I hope that we don't have to wait too long to see you in person again.
Yeah.
Get out on the water or go up to Whistler or do something, or maybe I'll just jump on
and come down
fishing. Oh, my brother would love it. I love it. He sent me a video yesterday of him releasing a big fat octopus out of his prawn trap.
Oh, wow.
And it's the coolest video. And the octopus kind of takes his time and looks at him. And they're big up here, right, these octopus.
Yeah.
And he just kind of slowly kind of glides off the back of the boat and sits in the water and looks at him a bit longer and then just kind of glides away. It's very cool.
Wow.
So it doesn't get any cooler than that, I think, if you're doing these kinds of things. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right,
well, look, we might leave it there, but once again, thanks a lot, Scott, and all the best. We'll speak soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
All right. Peace out.